Once you've created a website, you probably want to upload it to the internet for everyone to see. Over the next several videos, I'll show you how. When people create websites, at some point or another, they consider purchasing a domain name. A domain name, such as example.com, is a human-friendly name that you can point to the IP address of your server. Don't worry if you don't have a server yet, we'll cover that next. So, how do you get a domain name? There are many domain name registrars online, such as GoDaddy, Namecheap, Network Solutions, and many others. All of these registrars are accredited by ICANN, the non-profit organization that manages domain names. For example, here on GoDaddy.com, I can type in a domain name like example, and I can pick a top-level domain such as .net and click go, and it will tell me whether or not the domain name is available. This one is not available. There are nearly 200 million registered domain names, so don't be surprised if the domain that you want to register is already taken. This is extremely common, and it's probably a big reason why so many online companies have very clever or unusual names. For a domain name, you can expect to pay roughly 10 to 15 US per year of registration. Sometimes domains can be a lot more expensive if you get a unique top-level domain. If you want to buy a domain name and it isn't available, you could do what's called a Whois lookup to determine the person or organization that owns the domain, and if they're willing to sell, you can purchase it from them. This website, domaintools.com, offers a handy Whois lookup tool. So I could just type in a domain name here like example.net. And if we scroll down, we can see that this domain is actually not owned by anyone. There are a few special domains, such as this one, that cannot be purchased and are intended for example uses like this video. If you're looking for a very unique domain and you're prepared to spend the extra money it will cost to acquire it, you can purchase domains via domain auction sites. The most popular auction site is Sedo.com, but there are many others. Prices can range from 20 US dollars all the way up into the millions for extremely valuable domains. So you might be wondering, what makes a domain valuable and how do I pick a good one? Determining the value of a domain is a very inexact science. Really, the value is whatever someone ends up paying for it on the domain auction market. But that's just monetary value. The real value of a domain comes from what it means to you, the brand you're building, and how easy it is for your audience to remember it. This tool, called Domainer at domai.nr, can help you pick a domain name. There are many tools like Domainer, and this is one of the most popular ones. When you type in a domain name, this tool will search the availability for you as you type. It can even find what are called domain hacks, that is, using a combination of a clever name and top-level domain to form a complete word. So we can type in our domain, example.net, and it will look for a whole bunch of different domain hacks using paths and different top-level domains. Some popular examples of this are domains like Delicious and Bitly. Finding a good, memorable domain can be tricky and will probably require some research, so don't rush things if you don't have to. Once you've purchased a domain and built up your website, you have to store it on a server in order for people to access it. Media Temple is one popular place to buy hosting, but there are many other hosting companies out there, and you should look around to see what options suit you best. When it comes to hosting, there are 3 basic options available. The first option is commonly referred to as shared hosting. This is the most economic option and typically costs around 10 or 20 US dollars per month and is where your website sits side by side with thousands or millions of others, usually inside of a large computing cluster of hundreds or thousands of servers. Shared hosting is fine for 99% of websites out there, as most websites don't receive a whole lot of traffic. If you need a bit more speed, power, bandwidth, and storage, a virtual private server, or VPS, is the next step up. The price goes up here, but so does performance. Here you have your own operating system instance or virtual machine running side by side with other operating system instances on a single physical computer. Having your own operating system to play with and configure gives you a lot more flexibility. If you're finding that shared hosting and virtual private servers just aren't able to serve up your website or web application fast enough to large volumes of traffic, then it's probably time to go dedicated. A dedicated server is usually a single physical machine whose sole purpose is to serve up your website. Again, there are a lot of options in the hosting arena, so take your time and compare different companies and their offerings. Once you've purchased a domain and bought some hosting, it's time to upload some files. In the next video, we'll do just that.